Hello, I'm Kate. Welcome to the Hawthorn Cottage Podcast. Today is Friday the 13th of October and this is episode 16. You can find me on Instagram as Kate_Hawthorncotagecraft, on Ravelry as ARunnerBean, and we have a Ravelry Group which is the Hawthorn Cottagecraft Podcast. And you can find the links to all these in the down bar below and in the show notes. I also have an Etsy shop which is Hawthorn Cottage Craft, and thank you to everybody who has come through the shop in the last few weeks, who's liked, favourited the shop, and to those who have bought a bag. I've really appreciated that. The shop will now be shut until November. I'm away for a few weeks and then I'll take a few weeks to make some more bags. So I'll let you know on Instagram when that update will be. Thank you if you're tuning in to the cottage for the first time. You're very welcome. I hope you enjoy it here, and thank you to everybody who has come back. It's lovely to see you again. In the last episode I told you that we had hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm blown away by that. I am so chuffed. Thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed. There have been subscribers since, and I love to meet you all and to see you there, and for coming over to the group and introducing yourselves. But because we hit 1,000 subscribers, I wanted to give you a present to say thank you. And I had run a thread within the group, just basically for you to come over and tell me what you think could be done in the podcast, if you were happy with it, what you would like to see in the podcast, if there were any things that needed to be changed. And it's been brilliant to read all the entries. We had 101 entries, and it was just lovely to see. I'm so glad you enjoy the podcast, and I will do my best to implement some of the things that you've asked for. I know the overwhelming desire was that I show more of the Irish countryside, and I will certainly try to do that over the next weeks and months. But as I said, we had 101 entries. Thank you to everybody who entered. And yesterday I closed the thread and went to random number generator, and it drew the number. And the number that was pulled was number 37. And that was, is it Rhea or Ray? Realyn on Ravelry. I'll put it across the bottom here, and I will also burn you for that as well. You're from Raleigh, North Carolina. So thank you so much for joining in and for leaving me your comments. You have won the following pack. Hopefully it'll not crinkle too much. I'll try not to move it too much. One of my bags from Hawthorn Cottage Craft. We have yarn from Woolly Adventures, which is Northern Ireland dyer. Danny and Sam, they're a new team, and I've been dyeing a few months, but their work is beautiful. So some sock yarn from Woolly Adventures and some stitch markers from Knit It, Hook It, Craft It. And the links to Woolly Adventures and Knit It, Hook It, Craft It will be in the show notes as well. So if you could send me a message with your address, I'll get that off to you. Congratulations. If you see this before Monday, I'll hopefully get it away on Monday. If not, it'll be the end of October. I'm due back here on the 20th, so it'll be the beginning of the following week. I'll get it in the post. But if you could send me your address, then I can get that sorted. And thank you again to everybody who's subscribed. It really does mean a lot. Those thumbs up and subscriptions, they just make my day. So thank you so much. So I hope you've got your cuppa and we can settle down and chat about some of the work that we've been doing, the knitting, crafting that we've been doing in the last few weeks. I mentioned the last time that I'd cast on a sock at Atlantic Knitscape, but I hadn't shown you it because I'd done so little of it, to be honest. But I did a little bit of work on it in the last couple of weeks, and the sock that I'm knitting it a plain vanilla sock. There's nothing fancy about the pattern. There's lots of little bits of yarn in my way. There's nothing very fancy in the pattern. It is a plain vanilla sock, but I am knitting it in bear and sheep's clothing, and I've mentioned bear and sheep's clothing before. Again, a Northern Ireland dyer, And Bernie works with British wools. So this is her Bare BFL, her Blueface Leicester sock yarn, 75% BFL and nylon. And last May, Bernie came to Atlantic Knitscape as well, and she dyed up a special colourway for Atlantic Knitscape on her different bases. And this was one of them, the sock yarn. And this is what it looks like. And it's all the colours that for her were represented there, the blue of the sea and the green hills, and just the beautiful colours that you see when you're in County Mayo. So I cast on a sock. What better sock to be knitting when I'm at Knitscape but a Knitscape sock colourway. Killadoon was the name of the colourway, and Killadoon's a little townland, little area that the hotel that we stay in is based. So this is what I've got done, and I love the way that it's knitting up. I'm knitting it on 2.5mm. Didn't check the American size. I should know it by now, I say it so often. 2.5mm needle, and they're Addies. I cast on 64 stitches as is my norm, and I did the 1x1 twisted rib. And as I said, it's plain vanilla. I love the way the colour is, I suppose you would call that pulling. I quite like pulling. I know a lot of people don't. I quite like it. It's just part of the yarn. It's part of the pattern. If you're, but I like the way in this particular one, the colours are quite muted in this sock, apart from this swirl that is basically swirling round the leg of the sock, and it's a vibrant green and blue, and it would remind me of the way the sea swirls, and I just love the way the colour's working. I have knit my leg and I have put in my waist yarn. I'm going to do my afterthought heel again. I do quite like this one, and now I'm working on the foot, and I will work through the foot. I think the way I'd worked it out, somebody had told me that the length of your foot is basically from here to here. So I'm trying to work that. I think there's the leg, and I'll do the foot with the same length as the leg before I do work on the toe decreases. I don't know if that works. We'll see nearer the time. A little experiment. But it's just an enjoyable knit. Basic sock. There's nothing very much more to say about it. It's just percolating in the background. It stays in the car quite a lot actually. I would do a lot of car knitting on this one when I'm collecting my son from school and sitting waiting for him. So that is my sock. But my works in progress over the last 2 weeks have really focused on sweaters, not surprisingly. I talked in the last episode about the new knit along that Selma from Little Big Knits and I are running together, and it's the hashtag garmentsgalorekal, and I'll put all that at the bottom. For 6 months we are running this knit along or crochet along. You can crochet it. It's quite okay to crochet for this. We're running for 6 months so that everybody has got time to knit a sweater. 1 sweater, 2 sweaters, whatever you are happy to do. The details are in both threads. In the Little Big Knits thread, Selma has a chatter thread in there, and she has her finished objects thread, and I have the same in my group. We both additionally have a special finished object thread. In Selma's group, the thread is for anyone who has knit their very first garment. Never knit a garment before, you think this is your opportunity to knit your first garment. You can post your finished object in there. In my group, there is a thread for, we called it the Mount Everest FO thread, and it's basically any garment that is over 1400 metres. Double dip, put your finished objects in the main thread, you can put them in the appropriate additional thread if they fit. And if there's anybody else running a sweater cal, and at this time of the year there's loads of them out there, and it's within their rules, you can drop it into their finished objects thread as well. So that's what I have been thinking of for mine. And it's been fun actually looking through the chatter thread. People are starting to post what they're going to knit, what they've started to knit, and there's just a wealth of patterns out there. Patterns I've never heard of, which probably isn't a good thing because it just puts me off on another tangent and puts another one into the favourites list. I don't know what anybody else's favourites list or queue is like. It gets longer and longer and longer, and very little's actually getting knit off it. But anyway, I have been working on mine. The first one that I've been working on over the last couple of weeks, to your shock and horror probably, is the Scully cardigan. It got resurrected. I had started the Scully cardigan, as you know. I'd bought the yarn in Edinburgh, and when I came home from Edinburgh, I had knit the gingerbread sweater, and the Scully cardigan went on straight after that, onto the needles. But then it got set aside because I knit the Utu, and then I got into my Rhinebeck sweaters, and it just keeps getting pushed aside. So I thought it really did need to come out and get some work done on it. So, as I said, it's the Scully cardigan. I don't know if that's a particularly good photograph. What is it? It's not too bad. By Carrie Westerman. It's a beautiful, beautiful cardigan. And as the name suggests, it was designed in honour of Louise Scully, who is knit British. And it had to be knit, in my opinion, in British yarn. So, I had, as I said, bought yarn in Edinburgh for it. Louise actually helped me pick the yarn. So it is a very special cardigan, and I really, really do want to get it knit because I want to wear it to Edinburgh next year. I got blacker yarns, and it was the West Country Tweed, which is woolen spun, and the colour was grey, and it's a double knit. I think it's a double knit, yes. So this is where I've got to. I think when you last saw it, I was about here. I just got past the rib at the bottom and the little bit of design, which doesn't really show up particularly well. It'll show up much nicer when it's blocked. I'm showing you the wrong side. It's reverse stocking stitch, and I still look at the wrong. The other side is being the right side. So this is what it looks like. But I've got quite a little bit of it done. I'm about 5 or 6 centimetres off the underarm. It's knit, as you can see, from bottom up. And I'm almost at the underarm, and then I think I set it aside and knit the sleeves and then join it all together to knit the yoke. So it's actually moving along. I find it quite a slow knit. I'm using my Chigu needles, and they are not very organised today. They are 3.75mm, which is a US 5. I thought I had it written down, but I didn't. So the Chigu needles, it definitely needs the metal needles for this, but it's quite a dense fabric. I'm knitting to gauge, but it is quite a dense fabric, and with it is very rustic yarn. It's not soft. I'm finding it quite sore in the hands, so I would only maybe knit 2 or 3 rows of this at a time. I love the way it's knitting up. I love the fabric of it, either side of it. The right side or the wrong side. I just love the way it's knitting up. I love the flecks of colour through it. And it's very much my colour. I love the grey. I do love the way it's knitting up, but it's slow. It's certainly one of those projects that you take your time over and enjoy it, because it's not it's not as quick a knit as some of the other things that I have knit. The other sweater though that I was working on is not a slow knit. It's a very fast knit, and this is actually a sweater I would recommend to someone who maybe has a little bit of experience. If you've experience with short rows, but haven't knit a sweater before, this is a good introduction to sweaters. And the sweater I had started was the Pavement sweater by Vera Valimaki. Now I'd started this in July, and just like the Scully had set it aside, I'd started it at Fibre. I'd brought it with me to Fibre at the end of July, and I had started to knit it, and then I'd ripped it back, and then I started again. And this is how far on I have got. It's a bit scrunched on the needle. So it's a very simple top-down sweater. There's short row shaping at the neck, and until there's a little bit of increasing and decreasing, and obviously until you get, or decreasing, until you get to the arm, the division for the arm. And after that, it is simple stocking stitch. There's nothing complicated in this sweater at all. There's 16 inches from the armhole to the bottom, and then there's a tiny bit of short row shaping again at the bottom. No shaping at all, no shaping in the waist. So it is a really straightforward knit. I'm knitting it on Knit Pro Symphonies 4.5mm, which is a US 7. And I'd started it on the Symphonies simply because I was on the plane in the summer, and it was in case I would knit there. But because of the open gauge, I think, of this, and the fact that it's stocking stitch, there's no need to look at a pattern even for counting rows for shaping. It is a very, very fast knit. I would knit this when I'm sitting watching the television because I really don't have to think about it, or if I'm sitting chatting to people, it's a really, really easy sweater to knit on. It shouldn't take me long finishing the last number of inches. I'm lifting it and setting it down. I'm actually, when I've knit a few rows of the Scully, I would set the Scully down and pick up this because it feels so light and airy to knit after the Scully. And then I put a few more rows into this. And that's just the way I'm working the two of them at the moment. It's lifting both of them, knitting a few rows in each. There's no time pressure. This will be a Christmas sweater, but I'll have it done well before Christmas. I am knitting it in Fine Fish yarns, and this is really special yarn for me. Every autumn, every month in Belfast, there's a market called the Fine and Dandy Craft Market. And last autumn, Terry from Fine Fish Yarns was vending there. And in the autumn, they had a Narnia fair, and it was magical. I'll insert some photographs of it here. I think I've still got photographs from it from last year, and I'll put some in here. And the Narnia market is special to me because Narnia is special to me. Like a lot of you, Narnia is a fabulous children's story. But it's really the stories that started me reading. The stories of Narnia were read to me when I was in early primary school, when I was a young child. And I was hooked. I remember the story being, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, being read to us in school, and then me asking my teacher could I borrow the book, and I read it again. And probably at least once a year I'll read the complete Narnia Chronicles. They're special in many ways. They're magical books anyway. But the author C.S. Lewis was a Belfast man, so that makes it all the more special. But Terry dyed this yarn and I just had to have it. And I didn't want to knit socks with it. I didn't want to knit a shawl with it. I wanted a sweater, so I bought a sweater's worth. And it's called The Nicest Fawn I Ever Met, Mr. Tumnus, who's one of my favourite characters. And this is the colourway. So it's lovely soft greens and pinks, and it's like a beige base, very light beige, and it has lots of sparkle. It's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon and 5% stellina, which gives it the sparkle. And it's just going to knit up into the most beautiful but subtle, I think, Christmas sweater. You can, I don't know if you can see the sparkle. It's there, I can see it. There's definitely sparkle in there. So it's a really special project in that regard. I love Narnia, and I had it in a Narnia bag that I had made, a Narnia based bag that I had made last year. But I received a bag during the week that it just had to go into immediately because I think it's just very appropriate. I don't often show my project bags or the project bags I'm using, but this is a project bag from Emma of Eldenwood-Craft. And could that not be more appropriate to come this week when I'm knitting an Narnia jumper? It's like the forest in Narnia that Lucy enters into. So I love this, and it just was so appropriate. If you don't know of her work already, and I'm sure everyone has heard of Eldenwood-Craft, her bags are just stunning. They are so well made, and I love the fact that I've now got one. So thank you so much, Emma. She and I did a little bag swap, which was lovely. So that's what's living in the new bag, my Narnia sweater. So those are the projects I've been working on. I did finish one project, and I'm sure you can guess what it is. I finished my Rhinebeck sweater number 2. The original Rhinebeck sweater, which became Rhinebeck sweater number 2. But I got it finished, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will see the photographs there. It's actually quite a hard colour to photograph well, I think, being so dark. But I am thrilled with this. I have finished my Braid Hills cardigan. Hold it back there. It's all finished, and I love, oops, I'm trying to get the yellow shine off myself. I love the cable. I just love the way it is finished up. It's a Kate Davies design, and it was knit in her buckle yarn, her own yarn line. It's a sport weight yarn. Moonlight Night is the colourway. Moonlight Night. Lovely dark blue. And I finished it off with buttons that I also got from Kate Davies, the Kate Davies shop. I thought they were very appropriate for this particular sweater. The other thing I had to do to finish this one off, and to me it was almost the most time consuming part of this, there aren't buttonholes. You knit the button bands on, and just open it up, and then you line each of the button bands with tape. You can use the grosgrain, I think that's how you pronounce it, tape. And I bought actually a few different types, and then wasn't particularly happy with how they looked, and I had settled on this. I got this from a local fabric shop, Craftswoman Fabrics. It's very close to me, and this is actually bias tape. It's bias binding. And I sewed that on, and it's a denim blue with a creamy polka dot. I had got a grosgrain that was more the dark navy blue of the cardigan, but the polka dots were bright white, and I didn't like the bright white. I thought it was too much, particularly because of the centre of the button. I thought it'd been creamy. The bright white just didn't look right. So I'd found this. So it went on both sides. It's on the inside of this. And that had to be sewn on, so making sure it was straight, and I think it's straight, to me was almost the most time consuming bit. And then, as let alone having to sew on the buttons, the feature of this cardigan is that it's poppers. So all the poppers had to be sewn on. I got little plastic, clear plastic ones, because I thought they were slightly less obtrusive than the metal ones. But making sure those were even was a pain. But it got done, and I am absolutely thrilled. I'll put in a photograph here of me wearing it. And maybe the one of it hanging up, which is a better photograph. But I'm thrilled. I love the details at the sleeves. It's one of the things that sold me. Does anyone have any tips on how to block a cardigan? If you have any tips, let me know in the Ravelry group or down below. When I block a cardigan, the bit that really annoys me is that I end up, because it's blocked flat like that, when I take it off, there's a crease down the middle of the sleeve. Now you can see it kind of there, kind of the shadow of it. The way I eliminated that was, once it was blocked and dried, I held the steam iron over it, just let it hover, and then what I did was I put like a tea towel between the iron and it, and actually I pressed it, which probably isn't ideal, but I just don't like that crease. Is there any way of eliminating that? If you know, please let me know. But I'm thrilled with this. I had a scare. I had put in the sleeves and I tried it on, and I thought it was really neat. Tight, I think, is the... Saying it was neat, it was a polite way of saying I felt it was too tight. And I had a moment of panic, because this is the one sweater, if I can just reach it without pulling everything else down, this is the one sweater I had swatched, and I was about to go on a rant with everybody who tells me I need to swatch, because I was thinking I've swatched this cardigan and it doesn't fit. But I ploughed on, and I finished it, and I put on the bands, and I think actually getting the neckband on and getting the button bands on changed the shape of it slightly, and I tried it on again. I thought, well, do you know, actually it's okay, and I think once it's blocked it'll be fine. But there was that awful moment where I was so close to the end, I was so excited about it, it looked lovely, and I thought, this isn't going to fit. And there was a great moment when I thought, well, at least I had knit the other sweater for Rhinebeck, so at least I've won. Might not have been the original one, but I've won. But once this was blocked, it's a lovely fit. It's actually really, really nice. It's fitted, but not tight. I can button it, which was the concern, that I wouldn't be able to button it. Although it's funny, the weather forecast for next weekend, I think, is to be quite warm. 19, 20, 21 degrees. And maybe for some of you that's not particularly warm, but I'm an Irish girl. It's a heat wave. I might not actually have any of the sweaters on. They might go on for a photograph in the grounds of Rhinebeck and then come off again. But anyway, layering, I think, as people advise, will be the name of the game. I love it. So Rhinebeck sweater number 2 got completed, and I thought now I would be able to show you kind of the complete Rhinebeck wardrobe. I have a hashtag on all my photographs on Instagram, which is hashtag Rhinebeck wardrobe, and there you can see, if you want to look back and see the different projects I have made, if you haven't already seen them, and you aren't fed up hearing about them. This was number 1 or number 2. I have my artichoke French sweater. So I'm planning at the moment to wear this on Saturday and planning to wear this one on Sunday. Plans may change, but that is the plan at the moment. So if you see me in this is Saturday. So I've 2 Rhinebeck sweaters I'm very happy about. I have my Rhinebeck cowl, which was the orange cowl by Hilary Smith Callis that I knit in the Woolfinch Studios, which is now Apple Oak Fibre work. So if you're looking for Woolfinch Studios, it's no longer there. They've rebranded and it's Apple Oak Fibre Works, and this will all be linked. And that's my cowl, which goes with both. We'll tone in with this one. Very coordinated, and it'll tone in with this one. And then I had my hat, which is As the Leaves Begin to Fall by, I'll link it, I can't remember the name of the designer, but I'll link it. It was a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll put it across the bottom. And it was knit in the Harrisville Designs yarn. So this yarn's going back home. So I have my hat, and totally uncoordinated but equally lovely are my Rhinebeck socks. And this was the zigzagular pattern by Susie White, Prairie Girl Designs, with the Maker's Cuff by Amber Crawley, who is Maker's Haven. And the yarn was Nomadic Yarns Sweater Weather. So, my Rhinebeck wardrobe is ready. I'm all ready to go. I can't believe we are at this stage. I have done a countdown on Instagram, and it feels like yesterday it said 60 days, 50 days. I'm down to 4 before I head off. This day next week I will be road tripping to Rhinebeck, but on Tuesday I take flight. Hopefully Hurricane Ophelia, as it called, will not delay me, because apparently it's to hit the coast of Ireland and the UK on Monday, over the weekend on Monday. I would very much like it if it passed over very, very quickly and that Tuesday morning was a nice morning for flying. But I can't believe it's Tuesday, 4 days away already. But at least I've got my wardrobe sorted. Other things that I have been doing to prepare, I just feel as though I've been doing loads to prepare. I feel as though I've talked about nothing but this. I did a little bit of sewing. I have one sewing project I can't show you now, but I will certainly show you when I get back. But the other one I did is a bag. I wanted to make a bag, like a handbag, not a project bag, a handbag for myself. Because I had got fabric which I felt was very autumnal. It was very fancy fabric. It was IKEA's best. And it was this one. I just thought the fabric was gorgeous. And I scoured the internet for a handbag pattern. I wanted something that would be roomy for the festival, more so than anything else, but that I could use maybe as a handbag when I was away. And I had found a beautiful pattern, and I'll insert a photograph of it here. And it's the 3-in-1 Betsy bag by Betsy La Honta, and it was a Craftsy pattern, and I got it and I was very excited to make it, but I don't know if I could call this a sewing success. It's not quite how I envisaged it. Now, part of that is because I used slightly different fabric than they had advised, or that they'd used, because I couldn't get it here, or I probably could have got similar, but I didn't. So I'm not 100% happy with how it turned out. I think it will still be a serviceable bag, and I will use it, but more as a tote bag than a handbag. So this is how it turned out. The front of it. I decided to get some nice straps for it, which are on like this. And it has a little zip which I had never inserted before, so there was a lot of learning in this. I'd never inserted a zip or a pocket like this to anything before. I've put in zips loads of times, but this particular pocket I hadn't. The style of the bag is that it can be a big bag with the straps at the top, or the top part of it can fold in and it becomes half of its size basically, and you can put the straps here. But it hasn't worked. Partly the bottom of it's not firm enough, and the top fabric is almost too firm. It's meant to be drawstring at the top to pull it in, but this fabric is too firm for that, and it would look too bulky. So I have left it open, and that's why I'm not going to use it as a handbag, because it's not secure enough for me, but it will be brilliant as a tote bag. And actually the straps were slightly longer than I anticipated as well, and they're not adjustable, but it's great for over the body. So I have hands free when I'm away. It will hold a multitude of things like my raincoat and anything else I need to carry in to the festival will fit in here. I love the fabric so much, I didn't want it to go to waste. I really did think about unpicking the whole thing and using the fabric for something else, but I love it so much, and I had my heart set on using it. So I think I still will, but it will be a tote bag rather than a handbag that I can use just for the festival. So that was sewing for going away, and as I said, there was another project that I can't really tell you about just yet, but I'll tell you about it after. And what else have I done to prepare? I'd put on a little bit of a video on Instagram the other day, and it was, I'm not very good at journaling. I have great intentions. I love notebooks, I love pens, and I start journals and then don't continue with them. But I felt this trip, because it's so special, needed something, and I'm going to try my very, very hardest to keep it going while I'm away. It's only 10 days. It shouldn't be too difficult to write a few lines every day. But I'd got this, I thought the autumn colours, and what I decided to do was just keep a little journal of everything I've done and will be doing when I'm away. So I'm not artistic. I can't draw for fudge. But I did wee doodles around it, my Ottawa Canadian Rhinebeck trip. And then I did what I would have done. I do have a notebook where I keep my projects in. It's a messy notebook, but I thought I would do it for this too. So I have each of the projects that I have created for going to Rhinebeck in it, and a little picture of them all. So I have that to keep. Then I put in my travel projects, and one of the travel projects I have definitely is my, just get it out of the bag, Ninja Chickens sock blank. This was the sock blank I had shown you a few months ago that I had got. Maria botanically dyes these with flowers from her garden and around her house, and it's just stunning. Part of me doesn't want to unravel it at all. She actually did showed in her last episode where she had just joined her sock blank in the round and then knit a rib and bottom on top of it and made a cowl, which meant that she wasn't knitting into it at all, which was a brilliant idea. But this is what I'm going to use, and I'm knitting socks, and I actually have, although it's a travel knit, I have the rib of the sock done because that's a bit I like least, and I wanted that done before it took off. And the pattern I'm going to knit is Rhinebeck is Calling. The Rhinebeck is Calling socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. So that's what I'm going to use for that. I'm housing them in my new Knitting I Love needle cozy. See how that works. So that was one of the things I wanted to put into my book, was the socks that I'm going to knit. I have a blank page here because I have another project I want to bring with me, and I think it will be the Rhinebeck shawl that Mina Phillips Knitting Expat designed. It was a mystery knit along in the month of September, and I bought the knit along pattern but didn't knit along with it. I kept it because I want to use it next week. So that's hopefully going to go in there. And then I had what everybody does or thinks about, my plans for Rhinebeck, what I am hoping to shop for. And these are the projects I am, 1 or 2 definites and then possibilities of what to shop for. I need a list. I need to be organised, or I will walk in and get brain paralysis. I will not have a clue. I will be so overwhelmed that I really won't know what to buy, and there'll be an element of that anyway. I think I will be so overwhelmed by it all. But at least if I have projects in mind, it will be so much easier to pick the yarn and not buy something that I really probably won't use. There will be the odd random skein. I'm definitely planning on the odd random sock yarns skein, but nothing other than these. So the ones I'm definitely hoping to get, the picture isn't particularly good. It's a Victoria sweater from the Refined Knits book by Jennifer Wood. I have the book. And it's a sock weight, so I'm hoping to look for some of that. I've an idea where I want to get it. And it will be at Indie Untangled on the Friday night. This is a definite. I want to knit the Fern and Feather, which is a new pattern from Jennifer Steingass, and it's worsted weight. And there's a couple of ladies and myself are planning to knit this together, so I want to buy for that. That's a definite. This was one I had actually on my list for Edinburgh, and because I'd bought other yarns at Edinburgh, I hadn't gone for this, so this could be on the list. It's Sambuca, and it's a Thea Coleman design. It's colour work at the bottom. And maybe, possibly, I got the new Len magazine, which as per usual is gorgeous. It came last weekend, I think, and I've had fun browsing that. There's a lot of patterns in that that I like, but the one that I might, and this one is a might, this might have to wait for a while, is the Huga sweater. Worsted weight seems to be the general theme of my knitting plans, but that's a plan. So this little book is my journal, and then hopefully I'll be able to write down different things that have happened, and the part of the trip that's in Canada and the part of the trip that's at Rhinebeck, and just something that I can keep and treasure when I come home. So that's really all. If you are at Rhinebeck and you see me, come and say hello. Tell me who you are. Tell me who you are on Instagram and Ravelry, because just there's going to be so many people. I know I'm going to be overwhelmed. I do have, you call them in America, pins, badges here. It seemed to be the thing to do, so I got some badges. I think they're quite cute. So if you see me, tell me who you are and tell me you want a badge. Don't be shy, just tell me you want one. If I've still got them, you're more than welcome. But come and say hello. I can't wait to meet everybody. To me, there's two things. The yarn is almost secondary, which sounds like an awful thing to say. The yarn's almost secondary. There's two things that I am really, really looking forward to at Rhinebeck. Number one is meeting everybody. I cannot wait to meet everybody. I am so excited. Just people who have been my friend on Instagram for a long time, people who I've met through this. Just, I can't wait to meet you. And the second one is an apple cider donut. My needs are simple. An apple cider donut. That's all I want. If I don't eat anything else, that's all I want. But anyway, really, really looking forward to Rhinebeck next week. And that will kind of take me through the next 2 weeks. I hope to get lots of photographs. I hope to take some footage. I had toyed with vlogging. I'm not a vlogger. It's not something I'm particularly good at, but I will get lots of footage, and hopefully there will be some nice things to show you when I get back. So if you're at Rhinebeck, can't wait to meet you. If you're not at Rhinebeck, have a wonderful 2 weeks. Do what I have done every other year. I have made this room a Rhinebeck zone every other year. Everybody laughs at me because for the past 2 years I've put a sign on my door saying Rhinebeck. And I've come in and had my own knit weekend and told the household that I'm abroad, so I'm not reachable unless there's an emergency. I'm not reachable, and that's what I've done for the last couple of years, and it actually is quite nice. So if you're not at Rhinebeck, anyway, have a wonderful 2 weeks, and I will see you when I get back.